This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual professional legal advice. The podcast information was carefully compiled from vetted sources and references. However, R.O.S.E Resources outreach to safeguard the elderly cannot guarantee that you will not fall victim to a scam. Let's talk about scams. It's the must-listen show for anyone who wants to protect themselves and their loved ones from scams. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio, Joyce Petrowski, founder of R.O.S E, and her guests will provide valuable insights and practical tips on how to recognize and protect yourself from scams. And now, here is your host, Joyce Petrowski.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About Scams. My name is Brian Watson. I am a community outreach specialist for R.O.S E, Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly. Obviously, I'm not Joyce Petrowski. Joyce is our founder. She is taking a much needed break, and I'm very flattered that she lets me fill in and take the reins to this show. Today, we are going to talk about phone scams. And the title of this week's show is It's Okay to Hang Up on Scammers. I am giving you permission. So I do a lot of presentations. I've done at least 75 presentations over the last 2 years to a variety of audiences. And scams are a very, very heavy topic. I mean, we tell stories of people who've lost their life savings. There's stories of people who've committed suicide because they've lost everything. It's a tough topic to talk about. So I like to inject a little bit of humor. It's okay to laugh. It's just necessary to lighten the mood a little bit. And so I tell some funny stories and I tell people it's okay to laugh. And one of the things I like to do, I want to show my first slide today, my only slide today. It is a picture of a yellow rotary phone. And this one's actually generated by artificial intelligence. AI is it's very useful in my mind. But I show this picture to my audience and I ask them, raise your hand if you ever had this phone at your house. And the funny thing that happens is I get a bunch of hands that raise up and everyone laughs because we all had this phone around 1980. I grew up with a phone just like this in my house, and it was yellow. And what I've come to find out doing all these presentations is there was like one model of phones, and I think there were only 3 colors. And here's the yellow one. The other ones were like light blue and maybe some other shade. But it always gets a laugh because people can relate to this because we all had this phone. And after I show the photo of this phone, I always ask, what did we do when that phone rang? And the standard response that everybody has always provided is we answered it. Well, why? Because 40 years ago, most of us didn't have call waiting, caller ID. We didn't have answering machines. The telephone was the way that we communicated with our friends, our families, and our neighbors. It was like the lifeline to our social life. It's the way grandma and grandpa got a hold of us. It's how we figured out what we were doing on a Friday night with our friends. So most people who are my age or older, we are conditioned to answer the phone because we didn't have email and text messaging. And we were also expected to be very polite. You answered the phone and you were very respectful to whoever was there. Hanging up on the phone on someone was unheard of. And also back in the 1980s, phone scams weren't very prevalent. In fact, there really were no phone scams. You might get some crank calls here or there, but it's nothing like we're dealing with right now. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about phone scams. And this phone, this rotary phone from 1980-ish, is why many of us get in trouble when it comes to phone scams today. My generation and the generation that's older than me, we are hardwired to answer the phone, to pick up the phone and be nice. So, all right, we can put the slide down. We don't need that anymore. Thank you for watching it, everybody. Next time I'll have more slides when I present. I like to have visuals. So, what are some examples of phone scams that we're seeing today? Well, one very common one is people scammers pretending to be the government. This is Social Security Administration. There's something wrong with your account. This is the IRS. You owe money. This is Medicare. You need to renew your card or else you're going to have no benefits. Scary stuff, right? Or someone calls up and it's very chaotic in the background, and someone says, a young voice, grandma, grandma, or grandpa, grandpa, I'm in jail. Help me, help me. That's the grandparent scam. That one's very common as well. Or the ones we're seeing more lately is, this is so and so from the security department at your bank. Someone is trying to steal your money. We need to move it somewhere safe. And you instantly panic and believe them. Or this is a computer company and there is a virus on your computer. We need to act quickly or you're going to lose all your files. And the last one I want to mention today is the one you've won a prize call. This is Publishers Clearinghouse Sweepstakes. You've just won our grand prize. How would you like your money? So these are the types of phone scams we're talking about. And the people that call, the scammers that call, are very good. They are not first time callers. They are sitting in an office somewhere, probably with a lot of other people, using computers and reading scripts off that computer. They're literally just reading. And if the caller says a certain thing, they have a response for it. They have an answer for everything. So here's some advice that we like to give at R.O.S E. In order to not be scammed, we recommend that you screen your phone calls. So what does that mean? That means when the phone rings, and I have my cell phone in front of me here, I look at the caller ID. Um, I pretty much only answer calls if the person is already in my address book on my phone, my contact list. And and if they're not, all my alarms go off and I'm very, very cautious, and I'm prepared to hang up. But look at the caller ID, make sure it's someone you know. You can screen the call. That means let it go to voicemail. Okay. If it's legitimate, someone will leave a message. For instance, a new doctor you're going to, they'll leave a message. This is Dr. Smith's office. We're trying to reach you. Since we want to schedule an appointment, please call us back at this number. Then you can call them back. That's just the way you do it. Now, if you do answer the phone and you don't like the way it's going, you have a duty to yourself, to your family, to end the call. Scammers are going to lie to you and try to take your money. All you have to do is hit that button that says end call. You don't have to apologize. You just hit that button. And if you can't do that, I'm giving you permission to lie to scammers. Okay. And another funny story is last year I was at a church in Tucson, Arizona, and I started talking about phone scams. And I told everybody, you are allowed to lie. And then it caught my attention real quick that I was in a house of worship. And of course, that got a chuckle. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it's okay to have fun talking scam prevention. It lightens the mood, it relaxes us a little bit. We're still very serious about what we do here and the advice that we provide, but you you um, you can laugh. But yes, I'm giving you permission to lie. You have no obligation to be polite to scammers. They are calling you up and trying to take your life savings. So when I say you can lie to a scammer because you're just too afraid to hang up, what are some examples of lies that I tell people to use? Well, one, you could say, I have friends at the house right now. My friends are over right now. We're doing book club. We're playing cards. We're having dinner. We're having happy hour. I'm too busy right now. I'll call you back later or leave a message. Text me. You can say someone's at the door. My friend, we're bringing over some food or dropping off a shipment that was received that they picked up or something like that. How about this one? I have food in the oven. I don't have time to talk right now. I don't want to burn dinner. Um, or you can even say, I need to use the restroom. Like everyone understands that one. So those are 4 lies that I just shared with you that you can provide to scammers. The best thing is screen your call. The next thing is if you don't like the way the call is going, just hang up. Just say, I'm sorry, hang up. Bye. No, thank you. And then the third option is if you got in that far and you're afraid to hang up and you're afraid, just you can lie. Okay. Scammers are going to lie to you. You can lie to them. So what I've learned to being in the scam prevention business and the nonprofit world, working for R.O.S.E for almost 2 years, doesn't matter how smart you are, how educated you are, where you live, how much money you have. Um, Today's scammers are professional criminals. They are way better at this than you are. This is what they do full time. Okay. It's just not a fair fight. And they're using these scripts that are proven to work. And these scammers sound very professional. Their voices, the background noises, the terminology they use. They have an answer for everything. And every victim that I've met is a very smart person who's just been outwitted by a clever criminal. And that's been one of the biggest surprises. When I started doing these presentations for R.O.S.E, I expected to meet some victims, and I really thought the victims were going to be would have some sort of cognitive decline, would not be there. But that has not been the case. Everyone that's been scammed that I know, um, they handle their finances, they pay their own bills, they have a phone, they have a computer, they might have an iPad or a tablet or something like that. They're very active on the internet. They're super smart, but they're just the people that get scammed just engage with the criminals, and you have to disengage. So I have this story I want to share. I do a lot of presentations, and sometimes I do them with other people. And I've had the opportunity to work with my new friend Laura. She's a bank manager, and she engages with a lot of people. And Laura's awesome because she stopped a lot of scams. She's at her branch. She's always looking out for her customers. And Laura tells this story when we do these joint presentations. She had a client who lost money through a phone scam. And the customer had said, "Yeah, I knew I was getting scammed. I knew, but you know, I just I didn't know what to do." And Laura said, "Well, why didn't you just hang up on this scammer? You're a smart woman. You knew you were getting scammed. You didn't like the way the phone call was going." And the customer said that she didn't want to be rude. Now, let's just take a step back there. Um, this lady's parents would be very proud that their daughter had good manners, especially on the phone, was polite. But you know what? We can't do this anymore. We do not have to be nice anymore. We have to toughen up. We have to get a spine, and you need to be a little mean, okay? I am giving you permission to be mean to scammers, to lie to scammers, to just hang up the phone, not have to say anything. It's time for all of us to put away the niceties and refuse to be the victims of scams, especially these phone scams. I Every time I hear of someone else getting taken advantage of, I get a little angry and I get frustrated, and it's actually very motivating for me and my colleagues at R.O.S E to get out there and meet more people and warn them. And so we also want you to go to roseadvocacy.org. We have a great website for more information. Please, please, please sign up for our monthly email. When you sign up for that, you'll get an email every single month with the latest scams and tips and just good ideas to share. When you get that email, share it with your friends and families and your neighbors. Tell them, hey, you got to be doing something about scam prevention. And then also today's radio show, share this podcast with someone you know. We're keeping it tight here. This is like less than 20 minutes. It's an easy watch, and this is some good advice. Not that I came up with this advice. This is advice everyone shares in the nonprofit world, but it's just good common sense advice. Screen your phone calls, be willing to hang up, be willing to lie, refuse to be a victim. And that's how we're going to stop these scammers. What I've learned, 28 years in law enforcement and 2 years in the nonprofit world, both jobs, I have been doing scam prevention. What I've learned is these scammers aren't going away anytime soon, but we want to frustrate them and dry up their pool of potential victims. All right, everybody, I really appreciate the time you took today to listen to this information. Please, please, please share it with someone else and come back next week. Joyce will be back next week and you get to see her again. But thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you for watching Let's Talk About Scams.
Well, that's all the knowledge for this episode. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio at k4hd.com as Joyce explores a variety of knowledge so you have the power to make scam protection your healthy habit. And until then, feel free to reach out to Joyce and let's talk about scams.